Red Kryptonite. It does more than make Clark put on a sweet leather jacket and ride off into the distance on a motorcycle. This variant of Kryptonite was the first to appear in Superman's lore after the original edition of Kryptonite. And it's changed quite a bit over the years. From a mysterious substance that could seemingly have any effect to something much more focused. It took a little bit to get started and then very quickly became overused. I'm Sasha, this is Casually Comics, and we're going to take a look at the fascinating origins of Red Kryptonite. Now, Kryptonite itself already has an interesting history. First developed for the Superman radio serials and later transferred into comics, although there was a mention of something similar in an unpublished story from 1940, the K-Metal from Krypton. A story that was rejected because in it, at the end, Superman revealed his secret identity to Lois, and that altered the entire dynamic. From that point on, they were going to go on adventures and do stuff together. Now, some say this was not the reason, but it seems like a very credible extrapolation. If it wasn't, why the story was rejected remains a mystery, and many details from the story aside from that would work their way into Superman lore. The K-Metal that was going to be introduced functioned essentially the same way as Kryptonite. It was a mineral from its planet that drained his energy. The radio episode it debuted in was The Meteor from Krypton from 1943, and you can easily find it online if you want to go give it a listen. Kryptonite would debut in the comics in Superman 61 in 1949. In the story, Superman returns to Krypton, written by Bill Finger. It also contained the riveting tale of whether Superman preferred blondes, brunettes, or redheads. Lois Lane investigates by trying each different hair color. Sadly, that's not the story we're here for today, and the story we care about, what is of note, is that the original color of Kryptonite was red. It became green in Action Comics 161 from 1951 in the story Exit Superman. They don't really mention it, it's just green. And that would quickly become the iconic color. Superman's most well-known weakness that vacillates between being so common people are using it in engagement rings and impossible to find. But what about Red K? The first appearance of Red K is so mundane it's a blink and you'll miss it moment, and in fact it has been missed numerous times. The first appearance is often given as Adventure Comics 255, and in all fairness that is the first time Red Kryptonite actually does anything. But the first appearance of the substance is a few issues earlier in Adventure Comics 252 in 1958. In the story The Super Sentry of Smallville, A+ for alliteration. It was written by Alvin Schwartz with art by John Sakella. This is a Superboy story with the tagline that I always love: The Adventures of Superman when he was a boy. I don't know why, it makes me smile every time. Can you guess why Superboy becomes the Super Sentry of Smallville? It's the Silver Age, so my answer is no, but I'd like to find out. Never has anyone seen Superboy act like this. What's the meaning of his strange behavior? Is he sick? Is he on a hunger strike? Is it some kind of publicity stunt? See how all of Smallville worries and wonders at the Boy of Steel's mysterious conduct as he stubbornly sticks to the role of the Super Sentry of Smallville. I hope he's not going on a hunger strike. If it's a hunger strike to end all crime, even if he's in Smallville, he's gonna be there a while. In this story, Superboy uses his Oracle computer, which helps predict disasters and solutions to crimes that he's working on, and just kind of starts living his life according to it, really paying attention to it. And in the midst of this, just randomly, after he's found some mobsters and he's off to town hall, boom! Red K. The town board was delighted to hear I'd arranged for the Metropolis Police to turn over the reward money for the hijacked mob capture so Smallville can build its new police headquarters. Huh, that red stone. Great Scott, I'm weak, but it can't be. That odd little red stone could have affected me like kryptonite. Kryptonite is green. On the other hand, where did it fall from? So Superboy goes and gets a lead box and brings it home. What am I talking about? That would make sense. Superboy goes and gets a giant girder from a construction site and fashions it into a golf club and whacks the Red K. And then one of his robots catches it in a lead container. As you do. You know, you gotta make your own fun. That glowing red stone, I'll have to get it home for examination. No need to take chances by getting too close though. I'll manage it with the extra long-handled golf club I made. I don't know, is he going through puberty? I don't know what to do with Superboy's young voice. It's gonna vacillate. Now that I've had one of my robots catch the stone in a lead container, it's safe for me to return and let the Oracle computer figure out what the stone is. And shortly after, as Superboy reads the analysis made by his fabulous computer. The substance is Red Kryptonite, a refined alloy of regular kryptonite, which has 10 times the radiation power of ordinary kryptonite. Wait, there's more. Best transported via golf club. But Superboy isn't done. He needs to know the source. This is serious. But the Oracle's answer to the next question about the source of the strange red kryptonite brings a startled reaction from Superboy. And that reaction, he has to go sit cross-legged, hovering in one spot. And for the rest of the issue, that's where he is. And most most of the rest of the issue is just people reacting to this. There are some highlights, like Superboy carving a massive chess set using his robots as laborers to cure his boredom so he can play chess at a distance. People deciding he's sick and trying to pull him down. A professor bringing an art class to draw him. His dad trying to lure him down with his mom's fresh baked cookies. I guess you're not sick since you have an appetite for cookies. At least tell me how long you expect to keep this up. So why is he sitting there? What is the mystery? An alien weapon was going to materialize coming from another dimension right onto that spot specifically. And so he sat there and blocked it with his body. A pebble of red kryptonite accidentally slipped through when their machine was being loaded, with it to attack me first. I was the one person they feared. That's why they chose Smallville to start their attack. X marks the spot where super weapon from 4th dimension will materialize, 25 feet above the ground, 50 feet northeast. It's just the X marks the spot. X marks the spot. Buried treasure here also. Look at the cops' faces. This was not the explanation they were expecting. And then Clark just stopped using the Oracle computer and stopped worrying about red kryptonite because he got bored. He likes to be surprised. He isn't bothered again by Red K until issue 255, the one people note as the first Red K story. This story is The Splitting of Superboy, also from 1958, and it's written by one of our favorite madcap writers who's been featured on this channel. Wait for it. Otto Binder. We've also got art by George Papp. It's a classic split in two story. Ooh la la, what a treat. Red Kryptonite is mentioned right on the cover of this one as the source of the splitting, which is gonna get intense, as we can see on the teaser page where we get straight up murder. No, don't do it, Clark, please. You were my former secret identity. How can you be my worst enemy now? So what's Red K's deal here? This has nothing to do with those aliens trying to encroach from the 4th dimension. Forget that, it never happened. I mean, it did, but it doesn't matter. Instead, now Clark is approached by a Martian who knows his secret identity. And to prove this, he uses Red K to split him into two parts. As Clark, taken aback, still tries to cover up his secret, even from a Martian. The phrasing, even from a Martian. Stubborn, eh? I'll prove it. On the red planet Mars, we have a form of red kryptonite, but fear not, it doesn't affect you like green kryptonite, the one element that can destroy you. That'll make him feel better. I could kill you with green K, but I'm not gonna. Watch as the red kryptonite radiation strikes that caterpillar. It instantly splits into its other form as a butterfly, while its original form also remains. Now the radiation will also transform you into your two split personalities. Oh, holy cow, it split me apart from Clark. Both of us are alive at the same time. This will happen to Clark so many times that at some point it won't even be noteworthy, not even worth a journal entry. The alien then blackmails Superboy into helping him fix his ship and leaves, and just leaves the duplicate there and no explanation as to what's gonna happen, just bye. The rest of the story is Superboy having to deal with his Clark duplicate, who lacks powers, but is also evil. And once this evil, or rather bad, duplicate discovers the truth, he decides to kill our main Superboy with kryptonite. He also teams up with Lana to do it, not that she knows that's what's happening. This story it has some amusing moments, also some ones that haven't aged the best, but also a great ending. I'll go over this one more in depth when we get into our Red K stories list, like we did Jimmy Transformation. But this one is fascinating because, quote or not, it ends with the duplicate being brutally murdered. Rather, I mean, he accidentally kills himself through his evil plotting, so I guess that's why it's okay. But he explodes. Red K doesn't wear off, they don't refuse together, like you'll see in some other split by Red K stories. Nope. He just gets killed. So far Red K is just kinda there. It's shown up, it's just floating around the universe. It has various effects, but no definitive origin. But that's gonna change. Enter Action Comics 259 from 1959. The Revenge of Luthor by Jerry Siegel. You thought it was gonna be Otto Binder, but no, this time it's Jerry Siegel. Superman gets hit by Red K right at the start of this one. One day, as Superman patrols Metropolis, that meteor, it's going to strike the airliner. Streaking in, the Man of Steel catches the meteor, but then, what have I done? It's a great hunk of red kryptonite. I should have got rid of it with a blast of my super breath. Red kryptonite, the dread substance that was formed many years ago when fragments of the destroyed planet Krypton, converted to green kryptonite by nuclear fission, passed through a strange cosmic cloud. Well, I mean, that's just science. We can't argue with that. Green kryptonite can kill Superman. Red kryptonite does weird, unpredictable things to the Man of Steel. In this one, it plucks Superboy from a different time, and then they have to work together, but most of it is just Superman berating his younger self so much. Although there's a twist. This one has a twist. We'll spotlight it later, but what a twist. You'll be annoyed. We then get a firm, collected, dedicated story to Red K in Superman 139. This in 1960. It's an issue we've looked at on this channel for the first story, where Superman becomes a merman, and also Lois nearly gets married, and the merman thing had to do with kind of trying to get away from Lois, but also Lori Lemaris parents. It was a good time. I'll link the video that's in down below. But today we need the last story called The Untold Story of Red Kryptonite by, this time it is Autobinder. It must be noted that Red Kryptonite had appeared in other interim stories besides the one mentioned. There are still some rules that are being sorted out, like how long it lasts for. Is it 72 hours, 48 hours, 24 hours, 2 hours? It's evolving as it goes, but there will be a time limit on it. Issue 139 was a great cliff notes if you had just come in and just did not know what was happening with this Red K.
But what will the radiations of the nearby Red Kryptonite meteor do to me later? Why did I pause like that? Do to me later. Its effects are always unpredictable.
This story will really hammer home the whole it's unpredictable element. It can do anything, which was a fun aspect of it. When it showed up, anything could happen in the story. And the early days, that was welcome, but then they flew too close to the sun. All hail the Ant King. I also enjoy this one sailor saying the effects are usually bad. He's leaving it open. I mean, someday it could be good or fun. We get the same explanation for how they formed as in the Revenge of Luthor story, but in this one, Binder also ties it to the first story he wrote, which is also why the other appearance can tend to be neglected because it's not mentioned here. Binder goes back to the first one that he authored, which is The Two Clarks, and we get to see the death of Evil Clark again, this time even more gruesomely than the first time. It's a bloodless explosion, yes, but look at his glasses just flying off the cloud. These early direct canon callbacks are still something that are developing, so they're neat to see. It's not they don't happen, it's just not always the norm to directly reference inside the story itself. But that kind of culture will evolve. The Bronze Age especially is where you're really gonna see the concept of just shared canon really explode. At least on the DC side. It's different on the Marvel side. They have a different trajectory. The Silver Age means different things for DC and Marvel. In this story, we also get several examples of what Red K does to him, so you know what you're in for.
Hours later, when I finally woke up, my trophies and exhibits wrecked. I'll have to rebuild them all. The Red Kryptonite made me turn my citadel into a fortress of junk.
No, Red Kryptonite took his good taste. His career as an interior decorator ruined. As for what it does to him in this issue, giant beard and nails, which is a problem because he can't cut his hair with regular implements. Now, Red K would prove popular initially, and it would also feature in Supergirl adventures. It would spawn off other colors like blue that would affect Bizarro, white, silver, even though that one wasn't real, Jimmy trying to scare people, and the rules around it would develop as it went along. It would even get its own giant issue collecting a bunch of the stories. Action Comics 283, the all red Kryptonite issue. All red all the time. Red K District. Of course, as the Silver Age transitioned over into the Bronze and stories started to change, some of the Red K stories began to feel a bit less welcome, a bit too silly, and also they were happening very, very frequently. Fans really started to feel that it was getting out of control. Superman's turned into a baby. He's breathing fire, his face is a mood ring. It was all too much, there were too many types and people got tired of it. So in 1971, there was a story called Kryptonite Nevermore, written by Denny O'Neil, where all the Kryptonite suddenly turned into iron. This was a multi-issue event that saw Clark have to grapple with his feelings about this. This is where those panels of Superman eating Kryptonite comes from. Now, Kryptonite, of course, came back. You needed to give people a chance to miss it. And when it did was when it got more in control. And then also because of the different era of storytelling, that's where some of the explanations and definitions would become much more concrete. We can talk about that another time. But people still remember these older fun stories too. Kryptonite and its usage really waxes and wanes in terms of popularity. Sometimes people think it's too much, sometimes people enjoy it. They still do stories every now and again where they try to get rid of all of it. We covered one on this channel, the Search for Kryptonite arc. I'll link that down below too. So now you know the tale of Red Kryptonite. Looking back on its Silver Age origins, it's a fun experience. But you can also see how it's an idea that could get tedious and run into the ground. But in hindsight, looking back on them, it's a fun period. Do you have a favorite Red K story? Do you think Kryptonite is overused? Do you have a favorite Kryptonite? We've talked about quite a few on this channel, and I want to hear your thoughts. Share them down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things like share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some of your day spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.